que viene Cucurella, jala, tiembla, toma una galleta.
Firstly, George, don't copyright us for that, please, by the way. Please.
Yeah, no, it's not copyright.
Yeah.
What was mine's yours?
Thank you. Welcome, people. Welcome to City In It, where we talk City In It. Today, we are joined by Hugh Murray. I'll start with you this time, because last week, and actually, Hughie, last week you kept a bit of news very quiet during the show.
Did I? What was that?
Don't know. Do you want to tell us?
You got a haircut, Hugh?
Wasn't involving Bolton as well, by the way.
Oh no, that stays ITK. You know what I mean? That stays the way it is.
But yeah, welcome, Hughie. We are joined by Blue Tone once again.
Hello.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us. And this week, another new member to the panel, the one and only Geordie Pordy from City Extra. What are you saying, Geord?
Good, mate. I appreciate you having me on.
Appreciate you
looking
coming.
forward to the show, man. I think it's a good idea, man. I think it's gonna be sick.
And we should have Big Steve joining us at some point. He's currently travelling back not from Spain. He's travelling back from Manchester Airport to his house. So if he gets back in time, he's going to jump on. But do you know what? Actually, first and foremost, people, like button. It is free. Please smash the like button. It's absolutely free. Helps the channel. Helps push us out to more people. So simple housekeeping. And drop your comments in, your live chats, your super chats. But let's start off right now. It is a good place to be a City fan, I feel. Where do we start? Do we start with the game or do we start with the news? I don't know which one we start with, so I'll let you lot decide. Should we do the game?
Get the game out of the way.
Yeah.
Get the game out of the way. Get the game out of the way. Get the game out of the way. But you know what? It's still good news. 3 points. Going into it, I'll be honest with you. I said I would be happy with a point. The way I saw it was, we all know we start slow. We'd had, Foden, Stones, Walker, Rodri, I think a few of them had trained a couple of days. Rodri not at all. De Bruyne only been training for, I think, 5 days as well. Yeah, I was thinking, do you know what? If we can get a point at the Bridge, because it's an away game as well, the Bridge should have been bouncing from their side. Last season, we only got 2 points off of Chelsea all season. If we could have took a point there, knowing back end of the season, it's at the Etihad, I would have said, do you know what? 4 points off of Chelsea, I'm happy with that. But, things change. I'll come to you, Tone, first. How do you feel about the game? What do you take from it?
I think some people are underestimating how big of a win it is. Look, I'm not talking in terms of the title or anything, but Gary Neville and all them lot kept saying, it's a good time to play City. This is the time to play them. They're missing players. The way Pep's system set up and the way City play takes time. Always takes us a couple of months to get up to speed fully into it. I thought we were excellent, especially second half when Chelsea looked like first 10, 15 minutes, they were building up a bit of steam and it thought, oh shit, it's going to be a long half. And City looked a bit off. And then suddenly, bang, last half an hour, just brilliant. Absolutely excellent. Kept the ball, killed the crowd, although the Chelsea crowd weren't great anyway.
Were they? Surprising.
No. But I thought we were excellent. I thought Diaz, Rico, Rico's best game in a City top. Diaz was amazing, and KOVACIC. Suddenly now you've got people saying we don't need the 6-8, although GUNDOGAN, but you don't need the 6-8 now because he was that good yesterday. So very, very happy with City yesterday. I thought they were brilliant.
Yeah. Hughie, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I was pleasantly surprised. I think what Toner's saying about Gary Neville and those guys saying it's a good time to play against City is true, because it is a good time to play against City. You know, we never look amazing. How many first days of the season have we all come away going, that's, you know, losing to Tottenham that year, and then there's been a couple of years as well where you're like, we don't look great. Then, you know, a couple months later, it's totally behind you. We look like a totally different team, but. Like, however bad Chelsea are right now and whatever problems they have, they've always been a problem for us. They've always been, under Pep Guardiola, a difficult team for us to deal with. So to get the out of the way, 2-0 win is fantastic. And I took a lot of confidence and optimism from the fact that, look, you know, Foden didn't start, Rodri wasn't there, Stones, Walker, you know, these guys were, you know, these guys didn't start, they didn't feature properly or whatever through one reason or another. But the other players that you're kind of like, can they stand up? Can they impact a big game the way you would like them to? They did. You know, Rico Lewis deserves a massive, massive shout out for his performance yesterday. You know, that's a big game for him. You know, didn't play too many minutes last season, particularly in the first half of the season. The guy barely featured at all. Yeah, I know he started to play a bit more towards the end, but this is a big season for him to really up his reputation and up his profile in the Manchester City squad, and he's done himself absolutely no harm, nothing but favors. You know, I think he did a really good job. Difficult task, because some of those Chelsea forwards are difficult to deal with. You know, and Kunkus and Palmers and these guys, they're tricky operators, and they'd cause experienced defenders a lot of problems. And then, of course, look, you have to give Kovacic a massive shout, man. You have to give Kovacic a massive, massive shout. All summer we're saying, who's Rodri's backup? Who's Rodri's backup? We need more players, and maybe we still do. And we'll talk about that further with Gundogan. But you have to give him every single flower he deserves. Going to Stamford Bridge, his old club, playing in that role, which is a lot of responsibility. Pep's most important role on the pitch is that role. And he absolutely bossed it. You know, the press resistance, the driving forward with the ball, and then he topped it off nicely with a fantastic strike on goal. I don't care if the keeper should have done better or not. The fact of the matter is, he set that up for himself. Yeah. He took the shot, and it was a defining moment in the game. It killed the game. So Kovacic, and then, you know, he classy guy, didn't have to celebrate too much. I respect that.
It's like he felt to at first, didn't it? Then realized it was like, whoa.
Yeah, man. I was also a bit. I felt bad for Savio because I thought he looked really good in the first half, and then he went off with a bit of a knock. I don't know what the update is there. You know, when I was looking at Rico yesterday, and I was like, Rico, wow, he's bossing it. I was like, damn, Oscar Bob, I think, could have had that impact too. I think Oscar Bob really could have. Yesterday, he could have really shown to the world what he's about, because up until now, really, people like outside City fan base only really know Oscar Bob for that goal against Newcastle. Yeah. And of course, rightly so, fantastic goal. But we as a fan base who've been monitoring him since he was with the EDS team, right into his introduction to the first team, we know how much potential he has. So this would have been his I'm here type game, type season. So look, I know it's probably tough for him to watch that game, but look, those who did play, all you can do at this stage of the season, don't bother thinking about leagues, don't bother thinking about trophies right now. Just take it game by game, you know, work on whatever Pep wants to work on. And we did exactly that, man. Stamford Bridge, difficult place. Like I said, difficult place for us. I've been there plenty of times when it's when you're like, oh, it's not our day, or, you know, 4-4 last season is still a bit haunting. But nah, all credit, man. All fucking credit to those lads yesterday. Super job.
Do you know what? You touched on Bob, but I think it's relevant that if we talk about the team that ended up playing this, and we talk about pre-season, because, you know, we all know that the start of the season, the players that have featured most in pre-season are usually the ones that can be the most reliable in the opening couple of games. Now, for me, Grealish and Bob were pivotal to our pre-season, right? And both of them were out. So it's like all that planning out the window. And the fact that, you know, I think I might have even said last week, Ipswich at home, I want to see Doku and Savio and let them cook, right? Two direct wingers. And the fact that we ended up having to go away from home against Chelsea and start with them, I think that just shows, I mean, for Savio, how well he came into the team and just started straight away. But I want to single out Doku. And this is a thing for me yesterday. There were multiple players on that pitch that I know Pep said, I think in his press conference, the mentality is not there to win another league yet. It will be there last month of the season. I'm not going to lie, that performance yesterday showed a lot of mentality of players that do want to win the league. Doku, I think, probably put in the type of performance that Pep Guardiola wants from a winger, right? And what I mean by that is his work rate. His defensive positioning at points in that second half was unbelievable, right? There's one where Edison spilt the ball. Doku was just there to pick it up. And the way he was able to run with the ball and just take the pressure every time that it started in that second half, like Chelsea started to get a bit of momentum, Doku would get the ball and Doku would just run up the pitch and hold on to the ball. And, you know, I think it's very obvious now. We all agree Doku's best on the left, not on the right. It's where he wants to play. And go on, Jordan.
I think it's. I mean, I still give him like his chances on the right. I'll still kind of go for it. That he's a little bit versatile. But I think after yesterday, I think they tried to start with the wingers on those sides to hold the width. But as soon as we switched back to Doku left, Savio right, I think you could see instantly how much better it was.
Yeah, 100% agree. I mean, I think Savio on the right as well for me. Fuck me, can take on a man. Yeah. The amount of times he was beating a man on that right-hand side was unbelievable.
I'm glad he took the number 26, by the way.
Mate.
After the way he's looking now, I'm glad he took the number 26.
100%. So I think Doku was good. Savio, great first half. And I think, by the way, the news on that is I think Pep said after the game, should be back for next week. So, but then the other players, I think you're right on Rico Lewis. I've got my right. So I'm a big fan of Rico Lewis. You spoke on this last week. Massive fan of Rico Lewis. And I am very much saying I just want him to be given the opportunity to play on the right hand, to play in the middle in the 8 role, right? And I think there was flashes of why I think that yesterday again, when he was coming forward with the ball, looking exactly what I know he can do in the middle. However, and I've said to people, he's not a right back. I don't want to see him put in the right back role because he's not a right back. But actually yesterday, he did a fucking good job in the right back position. Brilliant. And it actually does show, like, you know what, he's still learning, and that's fine because he's still 19 years old. So I think in that way as well. Yes, sorry, I'm going to send you the link. Sorry, someone take over. I'm going to send Sai a link quick.
I think yesterday he looked like a right back. I mean, like I said, then one of the things about Rico Lewis is he inverts so much. He just becomes another attacking player in the midfield, which he's very, very good at because he's transitional plays mint. He gets the ball, he's very quick with it and wants to go straight forward. But yesterday, I think he just did a mint job at right back.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, when I expected Neto to start, right? When Neto didn't start, but then I think it was probably only about the 55th minute, 56th minute, I saw Neto being brought on. I thought, right, this is going to be a long afternoon for Rico Lewis, right? Because look, I rate Neto massively. And it was probably in the opening 10 minutes where the ball got played to the back post. And that touch from Rico Lewis was so, without that, Neto's scoring, right? Yeah. It's 1-1. And I think that just set the tone from there. From that point, it was like pretty much, Neto really didn't have much. He didn't have much. I think Rico had him on lock. And to be fair, in the first half as well, he had Nkunku on lock as well.
Yeah, he did. He was, like I say, I think it was his best game in a City shirt. I'm sure there's a game where he scored a couple, but it's an all-round performance.
Yeah, in Europe, I think.
Yeah, I think it's
not as difficult game, though.
No. And, I just thought he was superb. And you're right. When I saw Neto come on, I thought, the narrative, we've been linked with him, moves last minute, stop City winning. You could just see it all going around. And then Rico shut him down. I don't recall him doing, I think he cut in a couple of times, but he actually looked knackered, Neto. It was about 5 or 6 minutes he'd been on. Sky cut to him and he was like, he looked cooked. And it's like, bloody hell, he's clearly not had much pre-season. But Rico was brilliant, and win was brilliant.
Do you know, there's someone that actually hasn't been mentioned by any of us as well, and hasn't really been spoke on too much, but actually I think he got Sky man of the match, was Bernardo Silva as well.
Wow.
And I think that's something when you watch games like that often, if you don't, and do you know what, Vardy as well.
Yeah, Vardy was
often when you don't notice a player too much, right? That's when you in certain positions, yeah.
Defence,
When-
yeah.
That's when you know they've had a good
Yeah.
game, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I think he was another one. But yeah, look, that's a I think Huey, you said it. Kovacic, or might have been Tone, you said it. Kovacic in the 6th role. And I think the key to that is having Bernardo next to him. Having Bernardo with the legs to put the legwork in round him. I think
Bernardo takes away a lot of that that hard running that you have to do if you're in there on your own. You know, it just adds that extra presence. And you saw it when he came on against Man United in the Community Shield last week. He's really tenacious, Bernardo. You know what I mean? He'll really get stuck in to those physical battles, which is kind of interlinked with the Rico Lewis thing. And people talking about Rico Lewis. You know, is he capable of playing midfield? Is he capable of being a mainstay in the team? Because of his size, it actually doesn't matter that much, because as your football IQ develops and you learn to navigate the pace and intensity and physical demands of the Premier League, you will pick up, the ways of carrying yourself and when to get stuck into a challenge or when to be physical. And that's something Rico will pick up, and he can learn that off Bernardo. There's a lot of Bernardo's traits right now that Rico has and can develop into, that relentless work rate, that non-stop running, really technically good. Like, what Bernardo did so well yesterday was just tighten it all up. Keep the ball moving, keep the pace high, because what Rodri does so well on his own in there, and he only does it so well on his own because he's Rodri, is keeping the pace. Gundogan did that for us a long time, you know what I mean? Keeping the intensity, keeping us, essentially. We're playing at a higher level than you. We're playing at a higher pace than you. We're doing everything at a faster, more, a positive level than you. And Bernardo is a really important cog in that machine. And it's very unrewarding at times. It's very unrewarding because you're not going to really get the GNA. You may not get that, beautiful highlight reel out of it, but it's so crucial to the way Pep Guardiola wants to play. And it's why the likes of Doku and Savio got to, express themselves and flourish that bit more on the wings yesterday, because they had a great base behind them. In Kovacic, even De Bruyne was there covering that space, and Bernardo doing his thing. So it was a really exciting balance and a different balance we've had to a Manchester City team for a long time. I tweeted when the squad was announced, or the starting 11, Doku, Haaland, Savio. 3 of them have never properly played together before. They're probably just getting to know each other's names properly. You know what I mean?
I think
learn about each other, and then next thing you know, they're out in Stamford Bridge as a front 3. So. Yeah. It's great, man. Haaland was great too. People are always talking about Haaland not being involved in the game enough. Yesterday was vintage Erling Haaland. He won't be involved in the game, but he'll have that one moment where he just bullies you and he just does something absolutely, like that finish was absolutely world class.
On the finish.
You know what I mean? Most players would try and drill that or try and do something like hit the roof of the net. He just knows exactly what weight to put on it, exactly how much air to get on it, and it's in the back of the net. It's magic. It's Erling Haaland.
He said Haaland yesterday that last time Sanchez made a good save when he first time shot. That's why he took the extra touches, because he knew if he can bring the keeper out, he'll know exactly how to get it past him, because he'll know the perfect weight to put on the ball. Whereas last year, he made some decent saves against him when he was first time shooting from that area. That's why he decided to carry it forward. Which I think
it was also quite nice
to learn from that and go, I ain't letting you do that again.
Yeah,
it was nice that Cucurella was the last man to deal with him as well. Before he tapped
absolutely brilliant.
What a weird guy. What a weird guy. Like I've no issue with anybody celebrating their Euros. Celebrate away. Do go crazy. But why talk about a guy who wasn't even at the Euros? And then first day of the season in your home ground, mate, he bullied you. So hold that, cuckoo. Fuck off.
Why wind up someone like that? That's what I always get at. People who have a go at these top players, they do it off field, and you're like, what are you doing? They're clearly going to hammer you after. So it was brilliant when he needed someone to help him, because he went down with an injury or something, and Ireland just walked past him and said sod off type thing. So that was brilliant as well. But I thought Haaland was really good.
Bear with me. Sorry, I'm just having to fiddle about with
I see. The thing with Haaland is he takes players away, and that is absolutely crucial to allow the Dokus, the Savios, the Grealishes, and De Bruynes and everybody the room, because Haaland takes away 2 players immediately.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you can keep your Dokus and your Savios on the pitch, they're going to push the width as well, creating space for Haaland. But then everyone tries to double up on Haaland as well, and you can't do all at once. And I think it's going to create more space for us, create space for our midfielders, and ultimately lead with Haaland getting more chances. That's why when Grealish was on the pitch, Haaland scores more goals when Grealish is on the pitch because he'll hold the width. He'll drag 2 defenders out with him, allowing that space in the midfield for Haaland and to get his chances. Which I just think makes sense.
Yeah, spot on.
We saw that with De Bruyne yesterday, the amount of space and time he was getting on the ball on kind of the edge of the 18-yard box, the Chelsea 18-yard box, because this is intentional. You know, this isn't just by chance or you can call it maybe poor defending from Chelsea if you want, but City can do what City can do. 2 wingers holding the width, Haaland dragging centre halves around the place. Avenues are going to open up, and I know we're going to talk about him, but there's a certain man who's very good at ghosting into the box and you know, finding avenues when space opens up. He could do quite well this season, and even Kovacic, you know, Kovacic, I'm sure he'll be keen to up his G&A, and he started off very well yesterday with that. So the more space these wingers and Haaland can create for runners into the box, the midfielders, Rodri too, they're going to be able to feast off that.
Yeah. Do you know what? Just to talk on Cucurella yesterday. I fucking hate Bruno Fernandes. I think Bruno Fernandes has one of the most punchable faces. And not just punchable faces, but you can just see he's just moaning the whole game. Now, Cucurella yesterday, he literally became Bruno Fernandes with long hair in one afternoon for me. The way he was just moaning constantly, fucking what a punchable CUNT. And also the other one is Enzo Fernandez.
Enzo, yeah, bro.
Yeah, massive.
Oh my God,
Welcome,
he's a dirty
son.
bastard, man. Yeah, thank you, bro. Hey, Joan, Jordan,
Hey,
everyone. Good to see you all.
Right.
I am good. I'm good. Very stressed that Dabs had me leave work early and all this Gundo hype. Couldn't concentrate anymore.
See you left work. See you left work. Ultimately.
I left work.
No, we're signing
taken a week
Gundogan. I'm
off.
going home. I need to try that one. I don't think it'll work with my boss, to be fair.
Well, I'm my own boss, so.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I left, but
no, well, I
no,
know
it's
that.
good.
When I ask you from now on, if you can do a show and you go, oh no, I'm in the office. I think no. Your own
Not
boss.
good enough.
Get the fuck home, right?
That's true. That is true. But no, one of the moments I loved from the match yesterday was the moment where Cucurella's hammy, so he got a cramp, and then rolled on the pitch and looked up and, you know, kind of asked Haaland for help with his eyes, and Haaland just walked past him.
Haaland walked off,
smirking and looking
cold.
at him. So cold, man, and that's just, don't fucking use my name when you sing, you stupid ass something.
Do you know what? I agree with you, by the way, on Haaland yesterday. I think this is going to be a good year for Haaland, you know. I think this is going to be a good year. I think maybe last season, it sounds crazy to say he wasn't firing last season because he was, but maybe he wasn't at his scintillating best as the previous season. I think he's got a certain hunger in his belly this year as well. And I actually think probably for him, not being in the Euros maybe added a little bit of hunger to him as well. He got to relax, have a good time with his pals over the summer or whatever, but he seems back.
I think he'll break the scoring record again with the addition of Sabio. I think we will play much more, you know, to the byline, which is something I think will add goals to him. So I think he's going to be around the 40 goals in the Premier League this season.
Yeah,
I know it's mad, but I think we'll be there.
Yeah. And just on De Bruyne as well, quickly, by the way, because I know Pep mentioned after the game about he wasn't sure if De Bruyne could play the full 90. And you know what? I actually think there was elements of De Bruyne's game yesterday that I appreciate from when he first joined us a bit more. That De Bruyne was having to put a shift in yesterday. And it was good to see that De Bruyne was there ready to put a shift in. With the armband as well, because I've never overly rated De Bruyne as a captain. I don't think he's necessarily our best captain. But again, he led us yesterday. So look, for me yesterday, everything. Oh, and also the other thing I want to talk about is how relaxed in the pre-match and post-match interview Pep Guardiola looked. I don't know if any of you caught it.
Yeah, I did.
But he seems very rejuvenated, very refreshed, and that's a positive for me.
Oh, huge, because he said himself he'll see how the players react. Well, you saw the players react yesterday, and that's with half the team out. So he's seen that maybe that's part of it. After he's seen it and gone, yeah, they still want it. They're still hungry, which means Pep stays. It's as simple as that. I think if the players still want it under him, which they'd be bloody stupid not to, he will stay. So I think he'll stay.
Do you know what? I don't disagree. I think a happy Pep gives us a good sign that he may well sign. Look, I don't think we're going to have to wait too long. I think we'll know by probably.
Didn't he say decisions between November and February? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I heard before Christmas they want that clearing on what he wants to do.
I mean, it makes sense for the club to get it before Christmas, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. As long as it's not, I'm not keen on the rolling thing. I know I've said before, but look, if that's the only option you take, it's Pep. But you don't want to be getting to this time of the year going, well, is he staying or not?
I agree.
I agree.
But I think there's an uncertainty every single year then.
Yes.
It will be, yeah.
But don't you think, John, they would do like a 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
So that players, when we go try sign them, know they will have a few years with Pep and then have a agreement with Pep behind doors that if he wants to leave before the contract ends, that's possible. Because if it's just, as you say, a rolling year, it will be hard to attract players because they will be like, oh, what's going to happen with the city? What's the project? Who will be the manager when I join and all that?
Especially with
2 years. Pep
Musiala.
loves a 2 year, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, I think he'll do 2 more. But Musiala, Wirtz, those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, Man City are a big club. We want players to join Man City for Man City. But the fact is, a lot of them do still the Pep influence. Pep's the main thing. No matter what anyone says, it's not Manchester City. It's Pep.
True.
And the very first question, Wirtz, Musiala, all those top world class players are going to say is, how long's Pep here for? Because if he's here for a year, I might go and move to Barca or Real Madrid or something. So Pep extending a couple of years opens the door to the Wirtz and so on.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. Right, so let me just got a couple of super chats. Firstly, hold tight, Tyree, saying Rico needs the recognition. Guys, something else. Do you know what?
Fact. He's a Berry boy as well, so I guess
he's fantastic,
you know what?
man.
And the thing is, he's not dissimilar. Do you know what? He's, to a certain extent, you could say Rico Lewis is not dissimilar to Rodri in far of his personality. Look, one's Spanish, one's English, but they're both very humble. Rico Lewis is a very, very, very humble guy. Even down to, you still see his family at games, his family just there with the away fans and whatever. And I think sometimes that can be why you don't get the recognition you get. I can see Rico maybe continuing to hold down this right back position until there's a reason for Walker to come in.
I was about to ask this before. Does Walker go straight back in?
Nah, not for
After
me.
that performance against Chelsea, a difficult start to the season. I think it'd be very, very harsh to just throw Rico out now after that performance.
Yeah.
Exactly that. That's exactly what I was thinking. That ultimately, Kyle Walker is club captain, and we've seen Fernandinho as club captain and understand that he's not a starter, right? We've seen Gundogan the same, right? We've seen a lot of club captains understand that I'm in my senior years, I'm part of a team, and this is about the team. Because let's be real, that is it with Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. All right, maybe with the exception of Haaland, you have to understand you are part of a squad across a 60 to 70 game season, right? You'll get game time. You don't need to worry about it. You will get game time. Even so, I think that Walker ultimately, I think he has to understand, and I think Pep will be the same. Why would you possibly? I mean, right, our next game is Ipswich at home.
He plays, definitely.
Is Kyle Walker needed for Ipswich at home? No disrespect to Ipswich at home, but when we play teams at home, we have most of the ball, right? We camp in the other team's half, which is perfect for Rico Lewis. That all of a sudden means that Rico Lewis can invert and spend his time playing in midfield. I think I think Rico starts. Huey, would you agree?
Yeah, Yeah, I do think you have to be careful, though. I do think you have to be
Right.
careful, because while he is amazing, and he was amazing yesterday, and I think he'll continue to get better and better. You do also have to protect him, and you do have to, not overexpose him and wait till he has a disaster or wait till he has a bad day to take him out of the team.
Fair.
I think
agree
you
with that.
still have to manage, and you still have to remember his age and the stage of his development. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Walker start against Ipswich. Even though Rico deserves it, he's going to feel Walker needs a bit of game time to get up to match sharpness. Walker hasn't played since, what was it, the Euros final? Was that the last time Walker played
Yeah,
the
probably.
game? So even just for general squad match sharpness, he may play Walker. But on the balance thing, Rico probably deserves it. But like I said, Pep has been amazing with young players, with Palmer, with Foden, with Bob. But when they're at this age, particularly, not to overexpose them, and not
true.
to
That's
let
true.
them get damaged, and get cooked by the media for having a bad day, whatever. So
I mean,
that's what I would do.
If I look at it, I think I'd give Walker Ipswich at home. Maybe bring Walker. Give Rico Ipswich at home. Maybe bring on Walker for the last 25. West Ham away, right? Now that's a game where I could look at it and go, maybe we need Walker in this one. Kudos.
But I from what we saw from Lewis yesterday, are you guys still nervous about pacey wingers? Because I think he's so intelligent. Are you? Because when Neto came
one game, I'm never going to change my opinion on someone in one game.
No, but my concerns before the season with Lewis right back is pacey wingers. Well, he played against Nkunku, who ain't slow. He ain't the paciest winger in the world. But Neto is damn quick.
We've seen what he did to Nathan Ake last year.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And you didn't see any troubles in where it was a concern for you. So I just think that we should let him play right back for as long as every time he proves himself. I think you should get the chance to until you don't.
But then that's where I think what Huey said, I kind of agree with that. He's had a good game. I think if he plays against Ipswich, he's probably likely to have another good game. But you don't with 19-year-olds. It's not his first season. It's his third season.
That's what I said. It's his third season. So it's not his first season, which is why I think we could.
But he's still only 19.
More.
He's still only 19.
But he has been in a very professional environment his whole life, and he's been part of this first team for 3 seasons now. And I just think that he seems very mature of his age, and I think we can start to depend on him more. I think he could easily play around 3,000 minutes for City, and that wouldn't be a stretch.
I don't disagree. I'm kind of 50-50. I just also do get what Hugh is saying, and also actually get,
of course,
even more so when you take into account of the way Pep managed Foden, right? Is that you don't want someone's one good game. Look, I'll be honest with you, and I know it isn't his first game, but one good game. Mangala's first game for Manchester City was against Chelsea and had a fucking masterclass.
Please don't do that.
And then after that, he had a stinker, and it led to another stinker, and all of a sudden it was Stinkerville. Right?
Please don't compare to Mangala, bro.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
show some respect.
No, but what I'm saying is, with defenders more than anything, right? One bad game, one nightmare game can affect your confidence. And I think we just have to be careful and putting them up against. So, look, this is why there's been times where Walker hasn't been part of the team. Then all of a sudden, Real Madrid 2 years ago, he just comes in because we're facing Vinicius Jr. And it's like, do you know what? Yeah. We know what Walker can do against pacey wingers.
But that's kind of the exception. That's like Mbappe or Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. doesn't really get any higher than that. So I can understand if that's what we're talking about, but almost every other winger in Premier League outside of Salah.
But you're basing your view on Rico Lewis being able to cope with pacey wingers with one game. Literally, one game.
A bit, yeah. But but I had concerns about him handling pacey wingers.
Same.
And then I just think that he should then he proved himself, and then he should have another option to prove himself against pacey wingers, because the more times he can play pacey wingers, the more he will learn how to handle them, because he ain't pacey, but he's clever and his timing is magnificent, and his football IQ is amazing, and I think he defends one-on-ones very good. I would even stretch it to that he's on level. I actually don't think Walker is a very good one-on-one defender when it's not about running after the ball, but just standing up a person. I think Lewis did really good.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between both. I feel like we do need to trust him more. I feel like we do need to start giving him more game time. I think last year I felt like that should have been the year where Rico gets used more, and it didn't seem to go too much that way. But I do think there's a fine line between what everyone's saying. I think Hugh's right in the fact that you don't want to overplay someone as young as Rico Lewis and run him into the ground and then fall victim of that and then him go on a stinker. But also at the same time, we do need to start being able to trust the guy more.
I agree.
So we don't have a Palmer situation again also.
Is Walker going to be here as well?
That's a massive question. I mean, Saudi is sniffing around now.
Well, they've been sniffing around since May. Right?
Yeah.
I got told in Ancoats, before the last game of the season by someone that's close to one of the players, that Walker was already chatting with a team in Saudi, and it was kind of a bit of knowledge in the dressing room that Walker may not be here this season because
Walker doesn't start against Ipswich. He might look at that himself and go, you know what? I'm out.
That's what I was thinking. Did he look at that yesterday and go, bloody hell, Rico's come on. Yeah, I've got a bit of it. And if he's being offered, I saw 650, 700k basic to go, I mean, Christ, it's a headstone.
Why is Walker demanding that?
It's just, that's not bonuses, mate. That's not a signing on fee of 20, 30 mil. It's just this balmy money, and it would turn your head. You're 34. You've probably got max 2 years left at the top. You wouldn't blame him. He's been a brilliant signing for us. Arguably Pep's best, certainly one of. But,
do you know what?
Yeah, maybe.
And Tone, I think I'm seeing something that I don't really like, and it's not from. I'm pretty certain it'll be no one on this panel, but I have seen it in elements of our fan base. So I think we as a club, and I mean the actual club itself, we treat our players perfectly. I think we spoke on this last week, right, about letting them go at the right time, right, so that they don't become just simply a bench warmer. And when rivals have said to me before, City disrespectful to their legends, I think we're not. We don't disrespect our legends by basically keeping them for too long, sitting them on the bench. We let them go and get one last paycheck once they've done everything they can. Now, I'm seeing way too much disrespect for Kyle Walker right now. I'm not going to lie. I understand, and I'm with everyone. Last season, doing interviews with Rio Ferdinand during the business end of the season, I wasn't feeling it. He clearly hasn't been trained well enough with press conferences. He talks too much. However, we have to remember that this man, we did not win a trophy under Pep Guardiola till Edison, Walker, Bernardo Silva joined us, right? Kyle Walker is, how old is he now? 34, right? 34. And now when I'm seeing some levels of disrespect towards our club captain, first and foremost, right? That was also, away from being club captain, he's been one of our seniors for a number of seasons while we've been doing trebles, a four-peat. And if I'm Kyle Walker, and if I'm looking at it from my point of view, I would rather he goes and we remember him as one of the most important signings for this football club. If I'm being honest with you, right, I'd rather we remember him as that than the way it seems to be going now, where it's just complete disrespect to him. So, I don't know. It's an interesting one. It's other interesting one that we'll move on to in a minute to do with Kyle Walker. So, next super chat, Martin, Mancunian Way. Yes, Martin. All our love to you, bro. He's can't be here today. Said, sorry, missed it. But love to us all. And he'll be back next week. Smash the likes. And finally, from Arteta out, he's donating £2 to my trusty vape. There you go. Which I don't really use too much anymore. But anyway, right. So people, please make sure you're smashing that like button. So, how do we segue into this one? Let me.
I have 3% left on my phone. Just if I suddenly disappear, you know.
Okay, so now I can segue twice. Who am I talking about?
We cannot replace him. We cannot.
Am I talking about Simon or am I talking about Gundogan? I don't know. Right.
That was a great segue.
Thank you. Listen, that's too many years watching. Too many years listening to Radio 1. Right. Gundogan. One of the players that I think we would say, one of our legends that I think we would say we let go maybe a bit early. And it looks like maybe he's coming back. Huey, what are you saying?
I've been cooked hard for a long time for my opinions on Ilkay Gundogan. I ain't about to stop. Anytime soon. I'll tell you that for a fact. This guy's one of my all. I think he's in my top 3 favorite City players of all time. Him, De Bruyne, and Sergio. They're my top 3. And I feel bad leaving out David Silva and company in that. You can argue for any of them, but I just have this affection to Gundogan. That's like he's my guy. You know, Champions League winning captain, treble winning captain, the Mr. Whippy season, the FA Cup final goals, the Villa goals. It's just this guy he's him. He's totally him. And I maintain this, and the chat will probably tell me I'm a horrible person again and I need to learn more about football, but he's one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premier League. I wholeheartedly believe that. And you could call me what you want. I really believe that. Well, and look, he left probably too soon. We couldn't give him the terms he wanted in time, you know, because he's a man of his word. He gave his word to Barcelona that he'll go there. So that materialized. And now we're looking at getting him back. And I said this on LB's show like an hour ago. I said, this is a massive testament to Gundogan as both a footballer and a player. How often does Pep go back and re-sign a player? How often does Pep say, maybe it was a mistake letting him go. Let's bring him back. Let's make it happen. And he's still, 32, 33? He's not too old. And I think he'll come back with the vision of course, being an important player for the team, of course, being a leader in the squad, but also he's going to continue pursuing his coaching dreams. He started his coaching badges and his development as a coach at Manchester City, and he's in a fantastic place if he's going to come back to do so. We have the infrastructure, we have the resources, we have everything in place for Gundogan to become the best version of himself as a footballer for the remainder of his time, and the best version of a young coach that he can possibly become. So it's really a no-brainer. Like, even the nostalgia and the love for him is a big thing for me, but we're also getting a great fucking footballer. Did you watch him at the Euros? He was absolutely fucking elite.
You know what? You've triggered about 4 things for me, but you've also triggered someone with a super chat, and it's very relevant because I was actually gonna ask a question, right? So Huey hates Yaya. Right now,
no, I don't hate Yaya. I just prefer
Huey, let me land here. Let me land here. Listen, because I am in the same camp as Huey, and no, that does not mean I hate Yaya Toure, right? At all. Listen, Yaya Toure single-handedly won us our 2nd Premier League, right? That season, he single-handedly. And if you ever do have any hate for Yaya Toure, you just go back and watch his goals, right? And then or do you know what? Even you remember the FA Cup semi-final against Man United, or the final against Stoke, right? However, I had my issues with Yaya. It used to frustrate the shit out of me watching players run past him and him not stay with runners. And then the minute the ball got played to him, he'd have all the energy in the world to run the other way. Now, he was very lucky to have Nigel de Jong and Fernandinho next to him. What I was going to say is, I think is such a hard one, because without Yaya and David Silva, would any of this have ever happened, right? Because they were the ones that got all of this going, right? And I fully hear that. However, if you look at 3 or 4 seasons for Gundogan, right, there's not many people that could actually say they've contributed as much to our club. And you just said it, the Whippy. Remember that season? I think was it the first season of our 4-peat where De Bruyne got injured Aguero
Yeah,
wasn't
would be,
really about,
yeah.
and we were like,
21.
fuck, what are we going to do, right? Gundogan, false 9, our top goal scorer that season.
17 goals, yeah.
The next season, I mean, if we look at the fact that he was having to play in the 6 role at times, which is very fucking important for where we are right now. The fact, the Villa goals. Then the season after that, our captain, our club captain, the FA Cup final, and multiple other clutch goals that season. He's contributed so damn much. So, just to anyone that hasn't seen the news, Tone, you probably know it best because I know you're up to speed with all the transfers. What's going on? What is actually going on with
Well,
Gundogan?
I saw Fab just tweeted a few minutes ago saying that Pep wants him, and they're in discussions about what will happen with him at City and his role and stuff. I think hinted around that. So I suspect there's a coaching thing. But the good thing about Gundo is he's 34 at the end of October. Apparently, I've just looked that up. So, but I'm not so bothered with that because Gundo's one of those players that's it's in here. He's not quick anyway. His brain, he's switched on, mate. It's like David Silva, same sort of player. He's not one of the slowest players there is, but he's so bloody smart. And that's why when people go, oh, his legs are gone. I mean, firstly, they haven't. Like one of you guys said, did you see him in the Euros? He was amazing. I think it was huge. And yeah, it's all up here with him. I'll be honest, I have been sort of to and froing about whether it's a good thing we sign him. And then as soon as I saw we probably are, I obviously went with it's a great sign.
Really? What? There's anything, there's an element of you that's not sure.
The only reason is does it stop us going in the market for maybe someone else? But it appears not. So look, I don't mean this to say, I had that in my head.
Tone, who are we going in the market? Hold on. If you can convince me here, I've been waiting all fucking summer for Bruno Gomes, right? And he ain't coming, right? He's not fucking coming, right? Kimmich is not going anywhere. So please, and I'll be real, Eze. I'd take Gundogan over Eze any fucking day of the year, right? Any day of the year, right? Because we got Phil Foden. Eze is a cheap man's Phil Foden. I don't care, right? So I don't. If you could come on and tell me,
that's so rude, man.
It is, no, it's rude. But you know what? The funniest jokes are the ones that are true, right? And it is true. Like come on, bro. He isn't like. I look at Eze, and this is a thing. If you can tell me who we're gonna get, because look,
well, okay, Dabs. If you could sign, look, I know the money thing, but I know I've been harping on about Bruno G, and I get loads of shit for it daily, but I thought or was more hoping that maybe we might have gone in, obviously losing faith now as we go towards the end of the window, and it's not looking likely at all. But that was the one I thought they may have gone for because that's the 6'8".
Yeah,
he's a top player.
Yeah.
Now, you telling me, would you take Bruno G at his age or Gundogan? Ignore the money because we know it's going to be 100 and odd mil. But just that side, which one would you take?
No, because exactly like I said to you, I've been waiting for Bruno Gomes all season. It's not happening, right? It's so clear. I mean, look, banter aside, I do shows with a guy called Geordie Dredd, who's a Newcastle fan, and every show or every time I see a post on Instagram, I'm saying, you better keep hold of that player that doesn't want to play for you anymore. Because I do think Bruno, genuinely, if City went in and put the money down, he'd come, right?
Yeah.
And I know he's come out now and said he's happy there. He's Brazilian, right? I'm sorry he's Brazilian. He's only been there a couple of seasons. He would come City in a heartbeat. But it's not happening. I'm also one that, I'm the person that's saying I don't want Vinny coming back to this football club until he's won several Bundesligas, right?
Absolutely.
Because I love him that much. We've seen it. I've seen Lampard at Chelsea. I've seen Ronaldo at Man United. That's another great example where legends come back. But I think it's different I think straight away it's different with Gundogan, right? Because the truth with Ronaldo is that Ronaldo is not a humble brother. Ronaldo doesn't get that. Ronaldo thinks he has to start every single fucking game, right? Whereas Gundogan, won't be that person. We already know Gundogan will be coming. And look, I'm not saying Gundogan's happy to sit on the bench for the whole season, but Gundogan will know he won't be starting every game.
I don't think we need a prime Gundogan to come.
No.
At the end of the day, one of the issues that we've had at City is to find a defensive midfielder. We've got to look for a second choice midfielder who's going to be happy to sit behind Rodri. That's why we need more versatility, so they'll get the game time in elsewhere when Rodri's slamming out games. And Gundogan does that. We don't need Gundogan at his prime.
No.
Gundogan at this level that he's at now is very good. So I did a stream before and someone said he got 17 goals and assists last season for Barcelona.
Oh, he was Barca's. That's a journalist.
That's a
came out.
no-brainer. I don't even think Gundogan's washed. I think he could come and have another incredible year.
Well, the truth is, right, but a Spanish journalist came out and said some of the disrespect from Barcelona's fans and the club itself towards Gundogan is shocking. He was their best player last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was from a Spanish journalist. And again, I look at it and I think, spot on. It's not, can he do the 6'8" role? He can do the 6'8" role. He's done it, right? Furthermore, with De Bruyne, I think De Bruyne's game time has to be managed this season. Perfect. We've got Gundogan. If we get Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne, we have two players who are experienced winners, know the Pep system, know the club, get goals, and all of a sudden you can rotate them. 1 week Gundogan, next week Kevin De Bruyne. Keep the legs fit. And someone said the false nine role, he can do that as well. Do you know what? In the Euros, he looked good for Germany. It's just, for me, I think, and then the other one in the equation is Cancelo.
He's going. Yeah,
he's going. It'd be a good deal from City to get Cancelo off the books just on the base. Look, I think both clubs now in a very similar position of they want rid of Cancelo. We want rid of Cancelo because the wages and stuff like that. So we let him go, and also they want rid of Gundo for their wages freed up. If we do a straight swap deal with them, I think I'd be happy with that. I'd take that any day.
Yeah, I think that's it, because ultimately, from a wage point of view, I mean, look, Cancelo's on a mad wage, isn't he?
250, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Gundo was looking for before he left. Tone, can you remember what he was on at City?
I don't know. I think he's on about 200, isn't he, at Barca?
He's on £340,000 a week at Barca.
No, it's euros. It's euros.
No, it's €380, but it's about £340.
I thought it was about 200. I thought I just
No, I have it up here. He's 360 euros, and he has a release clause of 500,000 or 400,000 euros. He's got 1 more year left.
Yeah, well, with him being, because apparently Barca don't want a fee per report, so maybe they can work that wage. But City paying that's a lot of money. That's very bizarre.
Yeah, I think that'll probably. I mean, that's probably the only sticking point. But again, it's probably what I would say. Look, Barcelona is already owe us a lot of fucking money.
But Gundo has to think about it himself. Unless he goes to Saudi, no one's giving him that wage. No one's giving him that wage.
Yeah.
So if you're going to stay in Europe and play for one of the best teams, where better to go than Man City and take your wage decrease there. So I think coaching, wherever he goes next, he has to take
coaching, and that's the big thing. Coaching, City have this premises and the youth and all this, and Gundogan. I mean, if you want to coach, City's. I'm obviously going to say it, but yeah,
he can come to City, go to MLS, do his coaching, just through City.
Yeah.
He can do it's such a good career prospect for him to come here and then elevate himself into management. I think or in coaching in whatever way he wants to do it. I think it's the perfect thing for him. My only concern is probably, and I personally believe that he would come back to City. I think he'd be open to the idea of it. But if Saudi come in with a good money offer, it's got to be hard to resist that on one last payday. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're looking at it going, should I go back to City to try to win something, even though I've won it all before, or I get one last payday, some like mega cash deal from Saudi?
I think Saudi's where you go if you don't have too many intentions of in the short term becoming a coach. But as Gundo has made it clear, he wants to be a coach pretty quick after he retires from playing. So City can offer him the whole thing. You know, City can offer him absolutely everything he needs. But perfect. I think this is going to get done. I think it's going to get done quickly. I have a feeling this is going to speed up, and we could have an announcement by the end of the week.
I'll be honest, while we're on, and I know this sounds a bit like Sky Sports this with that twat with the yellow tie on, but someone did just say, a journalist who I can't say, it's probably obvious, but who covers City has said, yeah, it's on, as in big on. So
Yeah,
I think this one's going to happen. I think
I've just add something as well. Thank you, Martin. Yeah,
I think days. I reckon the next couple of days.
I think you've got to remember as well, right? That Barcelona are going to be getting the better deal in the way that they are getting an asset that will be able to be resold, right? Potentially, because he's younger.
If the Cancelo thing goes that way.
If it's a swap, and I think, look, that what City would maybe want to do is, because if Gundogan is saying, look, I'm on X amount and I don't want to drop to Y amount, City would go, do you know what we'll do is, there's room to maneuver it where, okay, Barcelona, you can have Cancelo, we'll have Gundogan, but you need to contribute X amount to Gundogan's wage for a season.
Yeah.
Right? Something along those lines, because you are getting a resellable asset. We are not. We're getting a Gundogan that ultimately is going to retire. If he comes City, there's a good fucking chance he retires at City, I think. Which would be a rare one, actually, because we don't have too many legends retire at us, do we?
I've got a question for you, and it's if Gundo, which I believe will happen, if Gundo joins City, do you give him the captain's armband?
That's what I was going to ask.
Anyone but Walker.
Yeah, we spoke about this. And I don't think Gundogan will come back and demand it. I don't think he would.
I don't think he'll demand it, but I'd give it him.
Yeah,
I'd give it to him, but I don't see it happening.
I think he's got respect to the whole squad already. I don't think he needs to build any relations in that. And the new players that weren't there when Gundo was there, they'll know to respect him through the players that are already at the football club. I think he'll already demand that. He'll just have that presence.
Yeah, and just think of the boost it'll give the others as well when he walks through the door and doing it for him on his return. You know, City have had this 1-1-5, and then they go and win the next 15 games. Now Gundo walks in the door, we're going to go and win it for him. You know, I'm buzzing, lads.
I genuinely, obviously it's been a very dry transfer window for City. And I seen all this going off last night and then before. I'm genuinely well excited about this.
Same here.
And it's a player that we've already had, and I've seen a few people online obviously on the other side of it not liking the idea of it because they're like signing old players and things like that. And I just don't see a situation where we don't benefit by having Ilkay Gundogan in this football team.
Yeah, spot on.
I think that's the thing. That's the thing with me as well. I'm not somebody that I don't care about going and boasting about who we've signed, let alone when it's boasting about a player that I haven't really seen play too much. I've seen Gundogan play. I know what he can do. It's the ultimate boast. Like, you can talk about compilations that you've seen of a player that you've never watched, or I can talk about the last 5-6 years of watching this man. And even at Barcelona, even in the Euros, there's no one that can tell you don't know what Gundogan can do. You know exactly what you can do. But more so, did you see Andy Morrison, the way he was talking about Bernardo in the Community Shield?
Yeah.
Where he said, he came on the pitch and straight away you can see him geeing up all the players, right? And knowing what it takes to win, the winning mentality. That's something we know exactly what Gundogan knows. And there's no better box crasher out there. I'm sorry, he's a better box crasher than fucking Jude Bellingham. Put it that way, yeah?
Yeah.
So I think it's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer.
I agree.
I'm having a bit of
works
just
every way.
Yeah,
someone just wants to take over for a second. I'm just trying to do something.
You know, with City in the Champions League, I always feel good about City in the Champions League. Like, we have a good chance of winning it. But with Gundo back in the squad, I'll just feel that bit better. There's just something about Gundogan, big games, big tournaments. The fact that he is our European Cup winning captain. You know, our first ever European Cup. He lifted that. He did that. You know what I mean? He led us to that. It just gives me a really excited goosebump feeling, you know, Gundogan back in the Champions League for Manchester City. I don't know why. There's just something about him, man. He's such a special player, and it's only going to benefit us, man. There's so many positives to be taken from him coming back. I know we spoke about him and how special he is to the club, but just on a footballing level, he's going to offer us so much. He's going to offer us so much. So, yeah, man, it's sick.
My straight reasoning was like, I was looking at going, would Gundogan have done well yesterday against Chelsea? And
Yeah,
instantly I was like, yes, absolutely, it'd fit him perfectly. So for me, I'm just like, yeah. And it's mad because Ilkay Gundogan was never replaced at City. We tried our best with Nunes, Kovacic.
Yeah.
They never really offered the offensiveness and then the surety defensively. Like they didn't put up the numbers going forward and defensive wise. So for me, our Gundogan replacement is going to be Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah,
Which is mad.
And the maddest thing is that we're actually getting it when maybe we don't need it at the moment because of the fact that, well, I think personally we're probably jumping the gun a little bit with, can Kovacic do this and whatever? I don't think we've seen enough of Kovacic just yet to know if he definitely can do that role. But do you know what? It just says again, we're in a very good place at the moment compared to maybe a couple of days ago where I'm thinking, do we really need Rodri cover? At this point, it doesn't look like we're even going to get any Rodri cover, where all of a sudden, and I know, do you know what? I do agree with what Tone said. I'm thinking very short term because it doesn't get us over we do need long-term cover for Rodri, right? Because Gundogan will only give us another season. But right now, that's probably all we need because the transfer market is the way it is.
I think it's a great stopgap.
Yeah.
It's a great stopgap to have Ilkay Gundogan on the side, and then we can look again next year and see what's available, even if it means going back in for someone like a Bruno G next year.
Yeah. Next year could be bloody manic with De Bruyne and everybody.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's going to be manic for others, though. I mean, it's going to be manic for Liverpool. I think next summer could be very manic for Liverpool. And also, I mean, if we look at it, I think next summer, if Arsenal don't do what they hope they can do this season and win the league, I think next summer's going to be hell for Arsenal as well. So it's what it is. Let's just touch on, we've got a couple of days off now, unfortunately. Do you know what? When you get back into the swing of things with football and you're hoping that it's just going to be like, right, give us a Carabao Cup game on Wednesday, please, or something.
Yeah, a bit of relentlessness.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, and am I right? The Champions League's starting a bit later this time.
Well, the draw is only on the 29th of August, I think. So,
yeah. And then we've got an international break after that as well.
Yeah, it'll be a bit later. I think there's two. Obviously, the format's changed, but I think there's games after Christmas, like in this first phase as well. So it's all different.
I've been trying to work all of that out. But Ipswich, what are we expecting from the Ipswich game? Just a party.
No, I think it'll be tricky because they're up. This is coming to City, one of the biggest games for them, and I think they'll be well set up. It will be how quickly we can break them down. I think if we score in the first 15, 20, they could be in for a bit of a hiding. But
I agree.
You never know. They keep it close half time. They go in and they're buzzing. You just don't know. But I think we should win by a couple at least. But I don't think it'll be a stroll.
Does anyone want to see? I mean, right. Does anyone want to see any changes from the weekend?
I don't know what changes you can make. Yeah, you can bring Stones back in, get him some time. Get Walker back in, get him some time. You could start Foden, get him some time. I don't know, is Rodri available?
McAtee.
But other than that, McAtee maybe.
McAtee, Nico Riley as well. I feel like had a really good preseason. I feel like I really don't want to see these players go under the rug and just become another player that we saw in preseason that we don't get to see for the side again.
I think Pep will start the game strong. You want to get you have to win the game.
This exact team that came out against Chelsea.
Yeah, like
it's. I mean, maybe Savio might not start.
It's a really good super chat actually. While we're speaking on O'Reilly, bringing in Gundogan, is it? I'm not going to lie. I think from what I saw of O'Reilly pre-season, I don't think it is a knock for O'Reilly because I think that we've heard that Pep might have had plans to maybe use O'Reilly as a Rodri cover. I think that would be a knock for O'Reilly. I think O'Reilly is not that for me. I get his tool, but he's more of an attacking player. And I think to play him in the 6 role at his age is a lot of pressure. So I actually think, do you know what? It might help if this is O'Reilly's first season being in and around the first team. I think it would be better if he's being played more in a natural position. So I actually think this could help him out a bit because, you know, we've seen that every time someone has to come in and do the cover for Rodri, it's massive pressure, right? If Kovacic had a bad game yesterday, that would be, as far as every single rivalry is concerned, that would be season defined, right? Because it happened last season. He had one bad game against Arsenal, doing the Rodri role, and all of a sudden people going, Kovacic wasn't that good. Where Kovacic was a very, very, very good signing. So I think it would be good for O'Reilly. Yeah, maybe that wouldn't be a bad game. Maybe give O'Reilly 20, 30 minutes, second half against Ipswich. That would be fair.
Series, that, isn't it? But I don't personally. I don't think he will, unless I think O'Reilly will be the kind of player that you'll start seeing in games where we're winning like 3-0. That's what you'll start to see. Just so it's less risk in it. Basically, reworking that question from the super chat there. Is it a blow for Núñez?
Great question, and yes,
because he was already out of the pecking order, and now you're going to throw Ilkay Gundogan, one of the best players to play for City. I think it's a shame because I really think there's a player in there, Núñez. I think there is a good player in there somewhere. I just don't think he's getting the time to show it,
and he's not giving himself. We spoke a bit on this last week, George. I think the other thing with him as well is, I'll stand by this. Gundo had a chance. Núñez had a chance by returning early from his holiday.
Yeah.
And he decided not to. So now it's... do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Gundogan goes. That's a valid point. Núñez might actually be looking for a move at that point.
Yeah, one thing that stood out yesterday, actually, another thing, was when I saw the squad on the paper. Now, we had no Rodri, no Bob. And I looked at the squad like that. I mean, that's shit up. That 20 is bloody good. The first 11, there are options on the bench, plenty of them. And I thought, Christ, we want these signings, but where are they going? Well, if Gundo comes in and Big Steve and so on say a new striker or someone else coming in.
This? Breaking news?
I think Big Steve said above something about a new striker. So, if that happens as well, I mean, my God, the match day 20 is going to be, when everyone's fit, it's going to be mad, and 2 or 3 are going to miss out, and not O'Reilly. Okay, fine, but who else? When we've got these 22 men in, it's going to be interesting to see how he juggles that.
Do you know, if we are in for a striker, I'm going to say it again, Ivan Toney. Go and get Ivan Toney, right?
He's going somewhere.
He's
Ivan
on 20 grand a week.
Is that what he's on?
Ivan Toney, he's on 20 grand a week.
Is he?
Criminal amount of money. Just go get him. You can probably get him for 20 mil, 30 mil, something like that.
Hey, imagine that though. Ivan Toney playing off of Haaland.
Oh God! It's
with Savio and Doku.
If we sign him, the Arsenal fans are going to melt. If we sign Gundo and Tony into this squad, it's going to be chaos. Our rivals are just going to sulk.
Yeah. I'm here for Gundo to make the Gunners cry. So listen.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you to everyone for joining us. Thank you for Tone for joining us. I know you've stayed on for a little longer, so I appreciate that. Thank you for Geordie for joining us. Huey for joining us. And Huey, you must feel chilled out today.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, man.
Yeah, you chilled out, but the same way, probably thinking, "Oh, I'd love to go on and cook Matisse right now."
Nah, it couldn't be asked. Because they all start telling me how shit Gundo is.
But the maddest thing is, it always somehow turns round. I remember when I think we beat Wolves something like 4-1. And it ended up somehow being negative on City. But no, so appreciate everyone that's been in the chat as well. We are redirecting to LB's channel, who I believe is going live right now with Nobbins. So please stay here. As soon as you get over there, please make sure you run up the like buttons for him. And we will be back next week. Who's going to the game, by the way? Anyone?
No, I'm in Spain.
Oh, very nice. Relaxing. Well, I won't see any of you there, but anyone that is at the game, if you see me, come and say hello. And we will be back next week at 5 p.m. Love.